Watch this guy's YouTube channel. Now he's in Medellin, and his Spanish is excellent because he lives in Spain. And this is his girlfriend right here. So, as he says, he's investigating the world's oldest profession. And one of the things that he points out is he says, now he says I'm tired of watching YouTubes where I see people that don't show their face, but they got a hidden camera and they're running around Medellin and they're showing other people. Now listen to what his girlfriend says.
Las calles como tan como en the front tuyo te choca, ¿sabes?
So you can't necessarily judge the women who do it. You have to understand both sides of it, the supply and the demand. And so on one hand, we have locals who partake in it because, again, it's normalized. And also we have tons of foreigners coming here to Medellin and, quite honestly, giving us a bad reputation worldwide. On the other hand, it's not okay if a foreigner comes here, like say from North America, and they end up dead in a hotel because they got drugged. So both sides, there's problems, but if you control it and you keep it legal in this area, the police know what's going on. They're not going to say anything. At least you might be able to have access to other resources that you...
Now, you see what he's saying? If you control it and you keep it legal. This guy is competent. See, he's a competent informant. Now, the problem with the Philippine videos is that you got Penal Code 202. And the minute you mention Penal Code 202 to the guys from the Philippines, they ignore it. Okay, if I voluntarily want to commit a crime knowingly, okay, that's on me. But if you make a video and you imply and you let people in your comment section talk about pay for play, and you continually allow them to imply that is legal behavior in the Philippines, now you are party to criminality. You're encouraging criminality. When you know that you can get, here's another example. You know that you can get a visa, or you can get a period that you can stay in the Philippines. But you know that after a while, in the land of one and done, the Filipinos are going to encourage you to marry someone so that you can change your status. You know that. Now, there are certain conditions where you don't have to change your status and you can stay single and you can stay in the country, but that's going to cost you like $20,000. Okay, so you're on YouTube and you're not filling in all of these details. Now, here's a guy that's filling in the details. He covered being scoped. He covered the law, and it didn't take him more than 20 seconds to do so. Listen to a little bit more.
You wouldn't elsewhere where it's totally forbidden.
The culture here that is very influenced for los capos, for
Narcos, yeah.
The style is like a show in the movies that you are here very ill. You could find a man that
Maintains you.
yes maintains you, and is that.
Now, what she's talking about is that in Latin America, everyone is connected to organized crime. Everybody. In a lot of ways, that's because everything is informal. It's informal. The economics are informal. Like, nobody pays taxes unless they're working directly for a government entity. So it's like the United States back in the colonial period, where the government was funded by excise taxes, mineral taxes, things of that sort. It's governance 200 or 300 or 400 years ago, and that's kind of like the problem. So if you have something like in Venezuela, where your government is going to fluctuate based upon the price of oil. It's kind of like Barack Obama telling Vladimir Putin that he's really in a small country, and the only thing that his country is the gas station of the world. Okay, which made him, Putin, the wealthiest man in history, but made his people some of the poorest in Europe.
The other level, you know, is a different level. Hola. No,
¿Cómo estás? ¿Ah?
Yo cojo los españoles.
¿Te gustan los españoles?
Sí, me encantan los españoles.
Pero no soy español.
Yo tampoco soy español, pero soy americana.
Bueno, una pregunta. Estoy haciendo un reportaje. Estoy haciendo un reportaje de la prostitución en Medellín. Madre mía. Una pregunta.
Vale.
Now, see, now his woman is right there with him, but she's still touching him. She's still being aggressive. I mean, you know, and sooner or later she's gonna say, "Hey, ¿tú quieres por un triple?" Watch.
Vale, mía. Vale, mi amor, acá soy.
¿Qué es la cosa que más te gusta de tu trabajo?
A mí lo que más me gusta de mi trabajo es venir a escuchar a los hombres, hacerme con ellos en su cuerpo y en su alma, y me lentamente al oído de ellos, saciar la avaricia de su cuerpo y su deseo, mirar sus tristezas y también mirar su bolsillo, porque no escucho cualquier pendejo.
Vale. ¿Y cuál es la cosa que más odias de tu trabajo?
Lo que más odio, 3 putos, 4 cabrones, invitándolo a un swingre, 4 chingos cagados como si cola de elefante y uno comiendo maní, comiendo la chocolatina, no sé si es plata o mierda que va lavando en un lodo, si no sabes si estoy en Medellín o en Cartagena.
¿Cuánto tiempo has dedicado a trabajar así?
En este momento mis años dedicados han sido las 15 primaveras de mis 30 años.
30 años trabajando aquí en las calles de Medellín. Y un buen día, ¿cuánto dinero se puede ganar en un día aproximadamente?
Now, here's something that they're not covering. She's been working in this for 30 years. And what they're not explaining is that over the 30 years, she's been one of the highest paid persons in Colombia. And it's legal. So, look at the state of her health. So what has she been doing over the course of 30 years? Well, despite how much she says she enjoys her job, you can tell by the state of her health that she's been snorting cocaine, probably shooting heroin, and smoking weed, and drinking a whole lot. Because, I mean, she's in a terrible state of health. And she's not more than 30, 35 years old. She ain't like where you see Colombian women running to the gym. She's not in the gym. And this is common. It's a free for all. Okay.
No tengo precio para los días, porque en los días me he ido con 50,000 pesos. Y he ido de días, de horas, con 400,000 pesos.
Ok, vale. Y en el futuro, ¿qué es un sueño que usted tiene para el futuro? ¿Te gustaría seguir trabajando o te gustaría salir de esto?
Pues en ese momento mi afición me gusta mucho trabajar, porque he tenido muchos amores y de pronto como me he ido en muchos bosques, a una persona no le gusta tanto que yo esté en muchos enredos, les manda que muerden el mismo pescado y una guapanera que ya son ancestros de tiempos.
¿Cómo se llama usted?
Jennifer.
Vale, Jennifer, muchas gracias. This old man said these two people right here, the girl and the guy in the white shirt, tried stealing his phone.
Usted me estaba amenazando y que dejen de hablar de que tal y que sale. Donde no haga bulla, me roba aquí con este muchacho, no es que yo tengo cáncer, mira.
They just arrested her. Bueno, at least the police are here to make an effort. You guys have to have extreme caution down here. Always watch your belongings because there are people watching you in this city at all times. They have that girl arrested. Now the question is, can they actually arrest her and do anything about it, or are they just going to release her in a matter of minutes?
No. See, this is why you don't take taxis. You don't take ride shares. And I prefer not to walk. You can walk. But what you want to be doing is going from point A to point B, and you want to be going there fast on an independent means of transportation that does not have to be fueled. No electricity, no gasoline, no hydrogen, no solar. I mean, you want pure muscular energy and something that you can turn on a dime. Mountain bike. You know, you just gotta have a mountain bike in these areas because you've gotta be on the move. You're gonna always be outnumbered like Custer at Little Bighorn. So you just gotta be faster than the people on foot. And take into consideration, except for the fact that somebody can drive up on a motorcycle, which you read Sala de las Mariposas. I think that's a Colombian novel. I forgot. It's Sala de las Mariposas, and it talks about an assassin that, you know, is a young homosexual, and he's driving up, and he's about 16 or 13 or 14 years old, and he falls in love with the writer of this particular book. It's a real story, but it's fictional kinda. But what he does is he rides up on a motorcycle and he shoots people, you know, which was a popular way of assassinating people in Colombia. That's why you gotta stay on the move. You know, you gotta stay on the move, and you don't want it to be stuck in a seated position where someone can drive by you on a motorcycle, whatever the case may be, pop you. Now you're gonna say, well, they can drive past me on a bike and they can get me too. Sure, they can drive by on a bike and they can get you too, but it's a little bit harder because you're not in a seated position, and you can twist, you can turn, you can move, you know. And the person that's on foot, they can maybe knock you off the bike, but as long as they don't knock you off the bike, they can't catch you on foot. And you got to understand that most of the time they're either going to try and chase you on foot, on a motorcycle, in a car. And there are places where cars, motorcycles cannot go. And a person that's on foot, they just plain and simply are not going to be as fast as you are on a mountain bike.
Te veo una persona joven, pues, ¿hace cuántos años te dedicas a esto?
Hace 10 años.
10 años. ¿Y ahora cuántos años tiene usted?
Tengo 32.
32. ¿Y solamente en Medellín o Bogotá o dónde?
No, en toda Colombia. No, soy de Venezuela.
Usted es de Venezuela, emigró acá. Y entonces, ¿qué te llevó a trabajar en esto?
La necesidad, no tenía dinero.
Ajá, ¿y
para ayudar a mi familia, a mis hijos.
Ajá, ¿tienes hijos
mamá, sí.
en Venezuela?
Sí.
Okay, now you see I'm magnifying here, and I'm looking at her tattoos. So what am I looking for? I'm looking for her gang affiliation, and I'm looking for the guy who owns her. Somewhere on her is the guy that owns her. And so if you deal with her, you're really just dealing with him. I mean, and you wanna look at them and you wanna find this out. Tattoos are not decorations, especially in this part of the world. What they are is that they're signs of ownership. They're sending out a signal. So you wanna know that. You wanna look at all of that. Okay, let's go on.
Vale. Y entonces, ¿qué es la cosa que más te gusta de tu trabajo?
No tanto que me guste, solo compartir con chicos y recibir propinas de ellos.
Pero entonces no te gusta por nada.
No me gusta.
O sea, ¿qué es
Solo
la
lo hago por hobby.
y por dinero, por necesidad.
Porque aquí en Colombia, como inmigrante de Venezuela, es un poco complicado conseguir trabajo, ¿verdad?
Sí, claro.
Y si podrías elegir un trabajo, ¿en qué te gustaría trabajar?
Now, 9/10 of the women are gonna say that this is a job that they do not like. Now, the first lady, she didn't say that. And the reason she didn't say that is because she was totally open to a triple. See? So she has to make her appeal for the triple. This lady isn't making an appeal for the triple. And she isn't making any appeal whatsoever. She might be going home and on her way to do something else. So, you know, she's just talking. She's not working.
Estilista.
Estilista. Yo creo que tú lo puedes hacer algún día. Eres muy bonita. Bueno, ¿cuál es tu cliente promedio? ¿Colombiano, gringo?
En realidad me gustan mucho los gringos.
¿Te gustan los gringos? ¿Por qué?
Porque son amables, me ayudan mucho.
Te dan buenas propinas y eso.
Buenas propinas.
O sea, ¿cuánto puedes ganar en un buen día? O sea, aproximadamente.
Con los gringos.
Sí.
Si me pagan en pesos 600, 700, siempre uso preservativo.
O sea, ¿qué es algo mal que te puede pasar? O sea...
Algunos clientes me han golpeado y he recibido bullying, pero no me importa.
Okay, now, see, she's saying that she prefers American guys, but here's the catch. Now, as soon as she mentions these American guys, what she says is hey, some of these guys, they bully me, they hit me. I mean, she's talking directly about that. That's why you're looking at her tats. Who owns her? See, who owns her? What is her past traumas? See, and it doesn't matter if she's doing this or if she's a school teacher or she's a bookbinder in any country in the world. It doesn't matter. Her prior trauma is what you have got to focus on. Not what you want, not even what she wants. You always have to deal with a woman's past history. If her past history is too deep, too profound, and it's out of your area of expertise, politely tell her, hey, yo no puedo hacer nada, porque aquel hombre que estaba contigo antes de mí, él tiene todo poder en tu vida, en tiempos pasados, ya y el futuro. See, you say it like that. Now, if you don't say it like that, and you're trying to talk about, oh, yo soy el más bueno hombre en todo el mundo, y yo no quiero que él quiere decir. Yo no quiero que estaba los eventos en la vida con él. You say all of that, now you're walking yourself into a trap. If she's still preoccupied with the past, chances are that guy has put his mark on her somewhere and tattooed it on her. Well, you're going to say, well, yeah, but I'm only going to be with her for 5 minutes, 7 minutes. If she's that preoccupied in your first conversation with her, you got to walk away.
Porque después que tenga dinero para ayudar a mi familia, a mis hijos, no me importa. A veces es peligroso estar en la calle, pero ya como cuando uno lo conocen, ya uno se le hace como más fácil.
Ya no tienes feeling, estás como, wow, nada me afecta, ¿verdad?
Sí, ya nada me afecta.
Ajá,
Lo importante es hacer dinero para ayudar a mi familia.
¿Y tus padres saben que estás haciendo esto?
Sí, mi padre ya no está, pero mi mamá sabe lo que hago.
¿Te ha tocado una vida dura aquí en Medellín, en Colombia?
En Medellín y en Colombia.
Ok, muchísimas gracias por tu honestidad.
Nada.
What really catches my attention is that a lot of these girls, this is a hot zone right here, but it's not dangerous to walk through. A lot of these people that I've been talking to, a lot of them say no to the interview, which is fine, but they appear to be, I don't know, like maybe 18, if that. I asked one, the last girl's friend, how old she was. She said she was 18, but she probably looked like 16. So that brings up a point. You get to the Medellín airport, and there's a sign that says, don't solicit child prostitution, because there has been Americans in the past who do that, and obviously it gives Americans a horrible reputation.
Now you see what he just said? He said there's a sign at the airport that informs you of the statutory non-consensual rape laws. So what your question has to be is, are those laws in Spanish or are they in English? See, and YouTubers have not covered this. He has, but the rest of them haven't. The second thing that these guys are not telling you is does the Colombian government have a robust public health system in this industry? See, now the Germans do, the Mexicans do, the Dutch do, the Swiss do. So why would you choose to go to, like, the Philippines, where they don't have a robust public health system that makes sure that people like in Angeles City and Walking Street, that they are disease free when they're participating in this industry? So it appears so far that Colombia does not do well at monitoring this activity. And so that means that you might not want to go to Colombia. So you're saying, well, I'm going to go to Colombia and I'm not going to participate in this. But what you're not understanding is that in the United States, prostitution is illegal. But in the United States, it is unwise to have sex in the United States with anyone. Anyone. Doesn't matter if it's your wife. Doesn't matter if it's Mary, Mother of Christ. And here's why. You go to Texas, and this is a perfect example. And granted, Minnesota is entirely different because they have robust testing. But still, everything in the United States is ex post facto. Everything, is sexually, it's ex post facto. You have the sex, then you test. You don't test, then have the sex. So you have these guys on here that they're talking about, well, I'm going to use a condom, when they're not understanding that's not the issue. Because you can still contract hepatitis B with a condom. You can still contract herpes with a condom. You can still contact sexual crabs with a condom. See? So the condom is not the here there. That's not the issue. What is the issue is the state of health of the people that are participating in the act of sex. And in like the United States, you can't even ask someone, hey, are you clean? You can't say, well, I'm clean. You can't even address the issue because everything is ex post facto. So you're crazy to have sex in the United States, even if it's your wife. Even if you're the president of the United States and you're having sex with your wife in the Oval Office, Bill Clinton. Well, he was having sex with Monica Lewinsky. Oh, I forgot. Well, but he wasn't having real sex with Monica Lewinsky. If I have oral sex, that's real sex. If Bill Clinton has oral sex, that's not real sex. Okay, now I got it. Now I'm on the same page. Okay, go.
Now I want to talk a little bit about the history. So, here, this is the Church of Veracruz. We can see Ruta Cultural Administrativa. This is an 18th century church, Veracruz. And legend has it that this was made by foreigners Brits, Spanish, and there's a mausoleum underneath where Spanish people, soldiers, conquistadors were buried. And so this is the oldest profession in the world. And so anytime there's a military presence with a lot of men in a country, think the Philippines.
Okay, now he mentions the Philippines. Now notice one thing about this guy. He walks up to that placard and he reads the placard. So he can read and write Spanish. He's literate. So he knew before he left. You know, and so this is a guy that you can apply the rule that he knows before he goes. And probably because he knows and knows how hard it is to acquire a target language, he probably is going to say like me, like I do. If you don't know the language, don't go. So, you know, people can make videos, you know, like Austin Harleman. Hey, come to Kenya. It's great. It's great. But if you go to Kenya and you don't know Swahili, ooh. See, that's what these guys are not talking about. They are living on luck, and they want you to live on luck. Whereas this guy is not living on luck.
Americans in the Philippines, South Korea, etc. Well, that's where you're going to have this type of activity. So this has been going on for centuries, and it's still going on to this day, right in the open. So this is a historic church, and you can't really miss it in the center. So honestly, it's quite mind-blowing. If you're just a tourist who's completely unaware and you're coming here, you would literally have no idea. But like, right in front of us, as you can see a tourist there, or whoever, talking to that girl. Who knows what he's asking her? If you're not aware, I mean, you're just totally blind to reality. Hola, una pregunta. Estoy haciendo un reportaje para YouTube. Entonces, le estoy ofreciendo dinero para entrevistas. ¿Está bien? ¿De dónde vienen ustedes?
De Cali, de Medellín.
Eres Cali.
Okay, now what did he just say? He said, hey, perdón, yo estoy haciendo entrevistas por YouTube. Y yo voy a darte dinero. See how that works? So what you think, see, this guy is very honest. You think that these people are walking up in Cartagena, Medellín, Brazil, in all of these places, and you think that this is just perfect interactions because all of these people are so friendly and they really want to be on camera and they really want to talk. Okay, in Mexico, nobody's going to talk to you on camera. They don't want their face shown, particularly if they are working in this particular industry, because nobody wants anybody to know. And so, you know, you're not going to get anybody to jump on YouTube. They're not going to do it. Even if you pay them, they're not going to do it. Because once in particular the bad guys find out, now they become a target. And it's more or less, hey, mujer, tú has vendaste tu cuerpo a él. And I'm gonna be crude. I'm gonna say it just how they say it. Hey, tú has vendaste tu cuerpo a que gringo. Tú has vendaste tu cuerpo a que gringo. Y si tú puedes vender su cuerpo a un gringo, tú puedes vender su cuerpo a mí. Now, what happens is that maybe the gringo has taken a shower. It's not just about money. Maybe the gringo has taken a shower. Maybe the gringo is absolutely socially conscious of what's going on around him because he had to go and fill out a form to get a visa. And so now the government, both governments, know of his whereabouts and are concerned about his actions. So this gringo is on a tether. But the Colombian or the Mexican guy that's trying to follow in his footsteps is not on a tether. He's just some random guy that's coming up off the streets that sees what's going on here, and then he's, trying to do a Johnny come lately and kind of slide in there. And that happens all the time. And you'll see the absolute fear on a woman's face. You're in a public place. You got to be very careful when you talk to women. And I'm not talking about solicitation of sex. I'm talking about you talk to a woman, and the guys around her perceive that she's being overly friendly. It's going to cause her problems. So what you do is that you go to the same place all the time where the same guys are there and the same women are there. And you make friends with the guys. Then you let the guys tell you about the women. You don't do like these guys on YouTube and you walk up and down the street just talking to women. That's going to cause you some serious problems. It's going to be some rock'em sock'em robots, and you could get your whole little head knocked off. So you let the local guys introduce you. Now, of course, this guy and we're not going to have a problem with that concept because we can talk to the local guys. But if you don't know the language, how are you going to talk to the local guys? Then you're forced to talk to the people that speak English. And that means, or Chinese, or German, or whatever. That means that you've got to talk to the people that have the capacity to speak those languages. And that means that you're talking about people that are going to be in prostitution, beggars, and criminals. And academia. So a school teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist. But unless you're there for medical tourism, you're not going to be talking to the academics, are you?
Leña y de Pereira. Entonces, ¿por qué venían a Medellín? Porque aquí hay más trabajo. Ajá, más plática. Entonces, una pregunta. ¿Cuánto tiempo llevan dedicando a trabajar aquí?
Un mes.
Un mes. ¿Y cuántos años tiene usted?
Yo tengo 23.
Vale. ¿Y qué es la cosa que más te gusta de tu trabajo?
La plata.
La plata, papi. Bueno. Y entonces, ¿los clientes en general te tratan bien? Vale. Un cliente promedio puede ser colombiano.
Okay, now, let me explain this to you. Number one, when you say, okay, ¿cuántos meses cuánto tiempo tú tienes en este trabajo? And she says, un mes. Okay. And then you say this, muchas gracias por todos sus sacrificios. That's the first thing that you say. You gotta understand that this person is making the ultimate sacrifice because what she's doing is inherently dangerous. So you say, muchas gracias por todos sus sacrificios. Stop right there. Stop right there. Then she's going to explain it to you. Don't ask her a question as, yo sé que tu trabajo está muy difícil. Explícame por qué el trabajo está difícil. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Now, he's got a directed interview. So that's going to be very important to him. But this is just a matter of etiquette and a matter of absolute conduct. You gotta always first appeal to the individual. Always assume that they have a higher spiritual, social motive. Always assume that. Always assume that. Now, what you're going to find out about women that are in this particular trade is that their unique skill is, and this sounds really bad, but you got to understand this. Their unique skill is that they are nymphomaniacs. Not one woman is going to admit hey, yo soy un nympho. Now, sometimes when they get to know you, they're gonna admit, okay, yo soy un nymphomaniac y yo tengo estos sueños y tú estás en mis sueños en el día y la noche. Porque tú trátame muy bien. Okay, now, sometimes you're gonna get that. But you're not gonna come to understand that straight off the top on the first encounter and within the first year. This girl who's new, people are lined up around the block to be with her. So she has to be physically strong. She has to be physically strong. And she has to have allure, and she has to be pleasing. So everybody in town is focused on her.
Estadounidense, europeo, gringo, por ejemplo, o ¿cómo son los clientes?
De todo,
De todo.
colombianos, estadounidenses, chilenos.
Now, see? Okay. ¿Cuántos clientes tú quieres más? ¿Tú quieres por americanos, chilenos, hombres de Chile, chineses, ¿qué tú quieres? Colombianos? Now, she is just absolutely beautiful and physical. So for her, it's not a question so much of money because she's gonna make money. So it doesn't really quite matter to her at what rate she makes it. She can make it at the local rate, she can make it at the regional rate, or she can make it at the international rate. Because what she does is she's beautiful, young, and she participates in high volume. I mean, she gets you in there and she gets you out because she's so beautiful. So what might take, like the first lady that was in this video, might take her 30 or 40 minutes. You know, she got to talk to the guy got to talk to her. I mean, she's got to convince the guy. She's got to absolutely convince the guy. And he's got doubts, and he's like, oh man, I don't want to be with her. And then what she's going to say, that first one is going to say, oh, hold up, let's see. Okay. Sí. Gracias.
Ay, niña, métete.
Hey, de cambio, tú necesitas traer ese cambio contigo. Sí.
Métete.
Sí, porque yo no puedo usar estas monedas. Hey, ¿cuál hora tú vas al trabajo? ¿Ya?
No voy a trabajar ahora.
¿Tú no vas a trabajar hoy?
No, ya son las 5, Tim.
¿Tú no vas a trabajar por todo el día?
No,
Ok,
hasta mañana.
en pocos minutos yo tengo un plato de comida que yo quiero que tú puedas probar. ¿Tú puedes probar una comida? Ok, 20 minutos.
Sí, bye.
Gracias. Okay, now, where were we here? The neighbor, she was nice enough because she was going to the store. She was nice enough to head off to the store and grab some, like, I think 2 dozen of eggs for me, because now I've discovered that I can take these eggs and put them in this coleslaw that's made by this company. It's all cut up, and it Taylor Farms coleslaw. And I've discovered that it tastes like ramen noodles when prepared with caldo tomate. So now it's like one of my favorite foods, and I have to do this because I need the protein. But let us continue.
Chinos, de todo.
Una hora de trabajo. ¿Cuánto uno puede ganar haciendo esto?
Por ahí $100.
$100, está bien, ¿no? ¿Cuál es la cosa que no te gusta de tu trabajo? Puede ser peligroso o...
Sí, a veces es peligroso. Hay veces salen hombres muy guaches.
Muy sucios o agresivos.
Sí.
¿Qué prefieres como cliente o no importa? No importa, vale. Ok, chicas.
Okay, now she's saying that she's making $100, and she's saying that there are men that are very disgusting that approach her. But here's the thing that you gotta understand when you look like her. She is like a microwave. She can get you in and she can get you out. And I've already said that. So the average guy that's with her is going to be with her 7 minutes. 7 minutes. And here's the thing, he isn't going to be doing a whole bunch of talking to her. And the reason why he's not is because it's going to be a long line of guys. I mean, they're going to be lined up around the block to be with her. You got to get in. So she's going to get them in, get them out. And now she's working on the street. So that means that they got to go to a hotel, this, that, and the other. So the guy's got to pay for the hotel. Then he's got to pay for her. Then, so he doesn't really have a lot of time to be screwing around. And she already knows which hotel she's going to. And she already has let the hotel know, if I have any problems, you send in the cavalry. And we're going to come in here and y'all come up here and bust heads. That's how she works. Okay, so she's fairly secure.
Seriously, guys, some of the girls are very, very friendly. So yeah, it's kind of like a conflicted situation. Do they all choose it? Maybe some of them do. I can't be 100% sure because maybe they don't want to tell the truth. Hold up. All right. So this is the historic church. As you can see, lots of people working here. Lots of people chilling, having lunch, having a drink. All right, everyone. So yeah, this is the reality that. Hola, ¿quieres salir para una entrevista? No? Okay, vale. No, entrevista? Vale. All right.
Now, he just said vale, dos veces. Okay, vale no is español. Vale is Latin. And vale significa saluda. Así, ¿cómo tú estás hoy? Vale. Vale, bene, vale. So that's what he's saying. Now, is he aware that he's saying that? Probably not. But once again, you got to be aware of exactly what you're saying.
¿Quieres salir para una entrevista?
Now, he's saying, ¿quieres salir por una entrevista? Okay, now, do you care to go out for an entrevista? See? Now, salir also, and see, and this is why you gotta know what you're saying. Salir, okay. ¿Tú quieres salir conmigo al hotel, mi amor? See? So, now that's why when she heard salir, and that's why she said ¿cuántos dólares? See? Watch.
Yo no manejo dólares. Eso es colombiano. Pero si no quiere no pasa nada, yo sigo. No, yo no quiero sexo.
No, muy poquito, muy poquito, no alcanza ni la mitad de
Bueno, está bien, respeto.
Okay, now, see, he knows the lay of the land. He's quick. He's quick, he's sharp. The lady asked him about dólares, and he says, yo no tengo dólares. Now, why does he say, I don't have dollars? You only conduct your business in the local currency. And then you say exactly what he says. Yo no tengo muchos dólares. Now, yo no tengo mucho plata. Now, what they're going to say is, si tú no tienes mucho plata, ¿por qué tú tienes esta ropa? Esta ropa está muy caro. ¿Y por qué tú tienes esta cámara? See, now you got yourself in a trap. And when you say that, everybody around is looking. They're like, oh, damn. Hey, we got us one here. See, so let's see how he escapes this.
All right. So yeah, you gotta be very careful around here because we're gonna do a little walk around here. But isn't it crazy? A place where there's a church where people come to repent their sin.
Now see how his tension rose when he was asked about the dollars? And then he said, hey, you know what? You got to be very careful around here. Because he knew that he was about to slip, trip, and fall. And someone was getting ready. It was a call. Hey, show me what's in your hand. They were trying to pull his whole card. And see, so he's not letting that whole card go. Notice that he never ever addresses nationality. See, he knows how to operate. He never addresses nationality. He lets them do all of basically the talking, and all that he's gonna do is ask a few questions.
And we have this alternate reality here. What a crazy world. Hola, buenas. ¿Ustedes qué están haciendo?
Vendedoras,
¿De café?
de café,
Vale.
colombiano, emprendimiento 100% colombiano.
Estoy grabando, ¿está bien? Vale. ¿Qué precio tiene una tacita de café?
1000 pesitos.
Vale, regálame un tacita de café. Gracias. ¿Cómo estás?
Bien, mi amor.
Now, see how he told the woman that I don't have any money. But when he comes up to what he perceives to be a legitimate business, he says, ¿Cuánto tú quieres por el café? Ok, yo tengo, ¿y cuántos? Y él dijo, talvez 1,000 pesos. Y él dijo, sí, está bien, 1,000 pesos. See, now he's buying coffee, he's being sociable, he's talking to another guy, see. Now, he isn't, and he's conducting his business in the local currency. He knows what he's doing.
Bien. Bueno.
¿De dónde eres?
Estados Unidos, pero vivo en España.
Sí, ¿en qué parte de España vives, amor?
Okay, now, that's where he messed up. See where he messed up? The dude says, ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres? And he said, yo soy de los Estados Unidos, pero yo vivía en España. See, that's where he messed up. That's where you always messed up. He could have said, hey, yo estoy de Perú y yo solamente estoy aquí por tal vez 2-3 horas y yo necesito regresar a la casa porque mi mamá está aquí porque ella está en el hospital aquí en Colombia porque nosotros no tenemos el tratamiento en Perú. See, you say it just like that. So now he's messed up because he hasn't got his story straight when he left. You get out there and you're never yourself. You're always somebody else. And you always tell the same story. When you start telling the story, you keep telling the story and you tell it to everybody. So that you get it absolutely down pat. So that if somebody is putting pressure on you, you never break from that story. I go over to the little job and I'm doing something, and so one of the guys at the job is doing something, and these guys are all bilingual, and so the guy says on something that's just like not really important, he screams out, "You're a liar." Okay, I knew what he was saying. I dropped it. I let him talk. Let him talk. Talk that talk. Talk that talk. Now, what he was mad about is that the women that were at the job, they said, hey, how do you say this in Portuguese? How do you say that in Portuguese? How do you say this in Portuguese? So I tell them, So now the women are just enchanted. So they're like, man, if that guy wasn't so old, he'd really be cool. That they're telling the guys that. So now the guys, they're mad. Because, yeah, they're making money and all of this and that and the other, but they're still not at that age where they're calm on the trigger. Like Wyatt Earp told John Wayne in 1919 or whatever, when John Wayne was just starting out as an actor, and John Wayne thought that he was, really strong and really this and really quick and all of that. And Wyatt Earp told him, he said, you know what, when you're watching these movies of the fastest gun and the fastest draw, he said, that ain't really the way it was. He said the calmest man who was cool under trigger, even an old man, He said that's the guy that usually came out victorious. And he cited to where some guys were riding through a town and they were getting ready to rob the bank in the town or whatever, and they were in a car. And there was a sheriff in his 60s, and he was in the middle of the street, and they were bearing down on this sheriff in a car. About 5-6 bad guys, bullets flying. And the sheriff stood there calmly, rationally, just stood there, right in the middle of the gunfire, in the hail of bullets. Popped off 4 shots. Bump, 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 bump. Killed all 4 of the assailants. Calmly. So, this guy, he's got to learn, and this is the only thing he's doing wrong in this video, he's got to learn how to be cool under fire. Next thing that he has to understand is, unless he sees an inspection sticker, do not consume anything where there is no inspection sticker. See, so he's messed up twice here.
Dime.
¿En qué parte de España?
En Málaga. ¿Lo conoces?
Más o menos. ¿En qué parte de Estados Unidos?
See how he's messed up? Now she says, what part of Spain are you from? Out of Málaga. And then so now he's got to ask her, hey, ¿tú conoces? Do you know this part of Spain? And now she's got to say más o menos. Now, the way you get messed up is, what if she's from Amargos? What if she's from that town? Now you got to get into a long, extended conversation about the town and why she left and this and that and that and this and that and that and the other. See?
Soy de Wisconsin, la zona de Chicago, pero puro campo. Gracias, toma. You've lived in California.
See, now he don't win all that. He was in Chicago, he was in Wisconsin, and now this dude is talking about he was in California. Okay, these people are strangers. We're not going to be going through all of that unless they're going to be doing all of the talking.
California, Costa Rica, por otra vez Los Ángeles, Nueva York y Nevada.
Wow. So, do you like to live in United States or Colombia more?
Colombia more.
Why? ¿Por qué prefieres Colombia?
Ambiente, estilo de vida.
Vida callejera.
Vida callejera.
This is street culture that in the United States we don't have.
No.
This is why people come here on vacation and they love it. This is an interesting place because we have normal tourists, we have normal Colombians like you guys working, we also have people who work institution. And how does the average Colombian...
See, now, look, he's busted out into English and talking to the guy that's from the States. He's totally ignoring the rest of the people. That's a no-no. If he's talking English to himself, cool. He's talking into the camera, talking to you, talking to me, cool. But once he's talking to this guy, no more English. Someone talks to you in English, the first thing you want to do, if they persist, is get away from them. See that guy over there in the red shirt? Oh, that's a woman. See that woman over in the red shirt? How she's looking? That's a little bit too much curiosity. And this guy already has said that you're being watched at all times. So, I mean, he's just perpetrating and violating his own rules up to this point. Watch.
And my question is, how does the average Colombian see this? Is it like, it's totally acceptable and it's, people have to do what they have to do, right?
Sí, la diferencia de otros latinos, de otras partes de Latinoamérica, es que en Colombia te puedes expresar, puedes hacer 1000 cosas, puedes trabajar 1000 cosas y todo te produce. A diferencia de otros países que más te reprimen para el trabajo común, ¿ya? En Colombia tú puedes ser quien tú quieras ser. En Colombia tú puedes expresarte como tú te quieras expresar. Puedes andar por donde tú quieras, nadie te va a decir nada.
Y es verdad que aquí tienes que pagar una vacuna, o cómo funciona esto, ¿no?
No, más lo que es el impuesto del gobierno.
Vale.
Eso ya se eliminó desde hace muchos años atrás.
Okay.
Y ahorita todo el mundo trabaja, juicioso, se la suda y échale para adelante.
Si yo camino por esta calle detrás de la iglesia, es una calle muy concurrida, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Y grabo porque me gusta hablar con la gente, pero también les estoy entrevistas a las que quieren salir con su consentimiento. ¿Puede ser problemático para mí o qué opinas?
¿Por qué? Porque muchas veces restringen para
Es el trabajo para eso.
Okay, now see, he gets with the guy that he knows that's been from the United States, and then he's talking too much to this guy and he's asking too many damn questions. Like he's saying, okay, I'm gonna go over this way and I'm gonna film. Do you think it's gonna be safe? Okay. If you got doubts, don't express them. You got doubts, don't express them. You think that it's gonna be unsafe, just don't go over there. Don't start asking people, hey, can I go over there? Like, one time I'm walking, and someone asked me a question in Spanish. They said, hey, no, maybe it was in English. It was an American, and this is when when I didn't like, you know, when in my mind I couldn't shut up. So the guy asked me something like, "Where's the zona at?" or something like that. And so I commenced telling him about where it's at. It's over there, and it's up there, and it's down there, and it's over there. And so a guy said to me, he said, a Mexican guy that's passing by, he stopped me and he said, "Look, I don't know what to tell you, but whatever you do, you should not be going over to that place. It's very dangerous over there." See, so now I'm out here, I'm giving out too much information in the middle of the street. And I'm too stupid to know that I'm giving out too much information in the middle of the street. When I could have said, hey, ¿tú puedes hablar español? I could have said that to the guy that was speaking English. And then I could have said, hey, ¿qué tú estás haciendo aquí? Tú estás bien vestida y tú estás disfrutando México? See, that's how I could have approached it. See, I could have approached it very neutrally and then let that guy do all of the talking. And then he could have told me what he wanted, what he was doing. And then I could have said, like I do nowadays, okay, no existía un problema. Yo tengo un amigo aquí y mi amigo sabe todo esta ciudad. Así, habla con mi amigo. See how you do that? Well, yo puedo traerte a una persona que puedo guidarte en esta ciudad que sabe de todo. See how you do that? You get yourself out of it. Get your ego out of it, you know.
Vale. Pero yo caminando por aquí, pues no pasaba nada, me explico.
Porque esa parte de aquí es más turística, y la parte de allá ya es más privada. Entonces tienes que tener un poco más de precaución a la hora de caminar grabando.
Vale.
Siempre solicitando el permiso, por favor, si se puede. ¿Puede salir tu rostro? Sí, no.
Okay, Ricardo there, nice guy who's lived in the United States.
Now you see what he just told him? You see what that guy just told him? He said, look, let me tell you something. If you're going to be filming right here where it's public, it's, kind of okay. But you go over there where it's private, it's going to be kind of dangerous. But whatever you do, if you're filming people's faces, that's going to be a problem. See? That's one of the things that the guys that are Filipinos, that are Filipino expats, one of the things that they don't understand is that if you live in Latin America, you don't have the same access that people have in the Philippines. They just assume, oh, you're no good at YouTube. You're no good at YouTube. And they don't understand you don't have the same access. But that's okay, because maybe you're not going to become a billionaire on YouTube. But that's okay, because you have other things that compensate. Short travel time, same cost of living, and women that are taller, bigger, badder, and built for action.
Okay. Alright, they're getting really aggressive here. I don't know if we're going to be able to walk through this area. So he told me, be very careful here. Head on a swivel, like what David says. Always be aware of what's going on. So yeah, this is the zone where a lot of things go on. We see some guys over there. But we have all these little hotels there where you can get a $5 room, whatever, up and down. Plenty of stuff going on. But I think it's a better idea if I don't have the police. I think it's buenas. I think it's a good idea to not go down there because I think it's a good idea to not go down there because, well, I tell you, you can see videos on it, but the guys don't show their face. They just record.
Now, see what he's doing, walking. Now, here's another advantage to a bike. On a bike, you're always going to have a helmet. So, I'm going through a port of entry, and one of the American officers, he said to me, he said, you know what? I have never ever seen you without that biking helmet on. Okay, now look. You got a biking helmet, somebody can run up behind you, hit you in the head with something. Chances are you're going to survive it. Someone starts throwing punches, they're not going to be able to give you a dome shot, and break your skull as easily. You're gonna have a little bit of cushion to absorb the blow. So you want to have a helmet on. You want to have a bike. You want to have something that's in between you and them. You got a heavy bike lock. You got something between you and them. You get into all of this exuberance. I've got to film everything. You don't have to film everything. Other people have filmed everything. Let them film all of the stuff, and then you comment on it. Because the same place that he's showing here in Colombia, I've seen 1,000,000 times on 1,000,000 YouTubes. There's no reason to go into this particular spot and risk his life and limb.
They don't show their face and they record secretly, but I'm letting everyone know that I'm recording. So if they want to be in the video, they can be in the video. What hermano? Wow, this is one crazy area. Alright, she said you can't record. So we're going to get out of this area before. They see me as a tourist. They see the gringo, they see the blue eyes. They see me recording. And that.
Okay, now see, he's not thinking. He's saying that they see the gringo, they see the blue eyes. That's not what they see. If they were perfectly convinced that he was non-Colombian, and that all of his content was going to be in English and go outside of Colombia, they would have lesser concern. Their problem is that they don't know that he's not Colombian. See, he's making too many stupid assumptions here.
That is a major target on my back. So, all right. I think that's about it.
See, now that's why you got to be able to hear, because she gritted out, she screamed, "No gravar, no gravar." Okay, so which is it? Is it no recordar or is it no gravar? See, you got to know both of them. See, no gravar. Right when she said no gravar, right then and there, I'm putting the camera down. But I'm not going through this area anyway.
Wow. All right, let's go through here. We're going to be out of this area. What do you guys think? Are you surprised at the transparency of the people? I'll tell you.
Now he's sweating. He's not calm. He's under pressure. See what I mean? See what I mean?
Right off the bat that out of probably, hasta luego, cariño. Chao. Nos vemos. Gracias por el café.
De nada, mi vida.
Ajá. Ya vuelves a trabajar.
Sí.
Okay, hasta luego. The Venezuelans are honestly so friendly and lovely people. Anyways, for all the interviews you've seen, I probably asked about 20 girls and got like what, 3 or 4 or 5. Let's check out this madness. This is a huge market here. Wow. I'm literally squeezing the camera with a 1,000-pound force right now. Holy shit. Alright, so we have this informal market here. These are like secondhand products. Some of them could be stolen cameras. Like if they stole this camera, that could be sold there. And then they can get that to, you know, have the bread for the day. Other things like metal, right? Because the people who are addicted to drugs here, they dedicate themselves to recycling, electronics, whatever that it might be, and they sell the little metal pieces, copper, anything they can get their hands on. Then they sell it here, further up this way. All right. All right, guys. This is the Mad Market. This is the Mad Market of Medellín. Hola, buenas. Manda saludos a España. Vale.
See, like hola, saludos a España. See, he just told a guy way back there that I'm from Wisconsin, but I live in Spain. Now he's saying hola, saludos a España. Now, everyone has whispered all the way up and down the block and have whispered the first thing that he said when he hit the block. So now he's yelling something out that could be contradictory. And why on earth is he yelling out, hey, España? Just go, hey, that's it, hey. That's it. Don't say hola, don't say nothing. At most, say buenas, and just let it go and keep rolling.
All right, people here are really friendly. Wow. Just walking down the middle of the street here. Woo. All right, we have old tools here, bikes. I think you can get just about anything you want in Colombia.
Now, you see those bikes? That's what I'm interested in. That's what I'm interested in. And now, see, this is a guy that really, he hasn't been at this a long time. He just hasn't lived enough. The first thing that he wants to know is, and what he wants to tell his viewers, is that, hey, you don't have to ship a bike to Colombia because you can always buy one. See, and that's information that people want to know. And he's just passed right by the bikes, and that's absolutely vital information. Swift, mobile transportation that can get in and out of crowded spaces that doesn't need any fuel. Independent means of transportation. See, I'm an old guy. So, I've been traveling around the world since '84. so when you're an old guy and you've been traveling around since '84, and when I was young like this guy, I was on foot with my damn chest stuck out, you know, because I pretty much figured that I could handle my own. Now, as an old guy, I realized, hey, hell, why should I do that? I mean, you know, I'm going to get outnumbered and, you know, and I'm going to get swarmed. See, he ain't figured it out yet because he's still a young guy.
I mentioned earlier that Waco, which is a hole, they sell everything, even a hole at Waco. Interesting.
No, he just told you that a Waco is a hole. And a Waco is not a hole in English. A Waco is a depression, and it's a fossum. Okay, it's a cavity in French. See? He's not, and he should explain this in the comments because that's very, very important. Because you get into these places and you want to say hole, and there's no translation for it. I mean, so he should know this by now, particularly since he lives in Spain.
Cell phones. All right. Let's go this way. You don't want to be here past 5:30, 6 o'clock at night because things get ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Todo bien? Fino, fino. ¿Qué tal la vaina?
Todo bien.
¿Ustedes de dónde son?
¿De dónde somos colombianos?
Parceros.
¿De dónde es?
España. Sí, me gusta mucho el mercadillo.
¿Qué hace por acá? ¿Qué hace?
Now see, now he's getting it right. Okay, I'm from Spain. But why does he care where they're from? And this is what you got to do. Okay, ¿de dónde eres? You ask the guy, right? And the guy says, "Oh, yo soy colombiano." Okay, automatically you say, "Pero, amigo, ¿de dónde eres?" Colombia es un grande país. ¿De cuál departamento? ¿De cuál estado? Okay, you want to get right down to where he is from. And the reason why is because you want to identify his political affiliations if you're going to sit there and talk to him. Now, let's say that you're in Mexico and you say, "Hey, ¿de dónde eres?" And él dijo, "Mexicano." And then you say, "Pero de cuál parte de México? Porque México es muy grande. ¿De cuál parte?" Y él dijo, Michoacán. Okay, now see how it brings a different color to it. So you want to know exactly where the person is from, like as if you were walking through, let's say, Auburn Hills in Michigan, and some guy said to you, he said, "You're coming out of a Pistons game," and you're talking to some guy, and you ask him, "Hey man, where you from?" And the dude said that he was from Detroit. Now you're not just going to take from Detroit on face value, because what you want to know is he east of 8 Mile? That's what you want to know. It's like you go through Chicago, you meet somebody, you want to know, are they from the South Side? See, you want to know specific information. You just don't want to know, yeah, I'm from Indiana. Well, are you from Gary?
Conociendo, grabar un video para YouTube. No, estoy bien, hermano. Estoy bien, hermano. Gracias.
No, I'm going to cut it off right there. You see exactly what I mean? Look at what that guy just said. I'm going to replay this so you see what I'm saying. Watch.
Manda saludos a España. Vale. Alright, people here are really friendly. Wow. Just walking on the middle of the street here. Woo. Alright, we have old tools here, bikes. I think you can get just about anything you want in Colombia. As I mentioned earlier, the Waco, which is a hole, they sell everything, even a hole at Waco. Interesting. Cell phones. All right. Let's go this way. You don't want to be here past 5:30, 6 o'clock at night because things get hot here. ¿Cómo estamos? ¿Todo bien? Fino, fino. ¿Qué tal la vaina?
Todo bien.
¿Ustedes de dónde son?
¿De dónde somos colombianos?
Parceros.
¿De dónde es?
España. Sí, me gusta mucho el mercadillo.
¿Y qué hace por acá? ¿Qué hace?
Conociendo, grabando un video para YouTube.
¿Qué necesita? ¿Perico?
No, estoy bien, hermano.
Okay, see what they asked him? He said, "Hey, do you need flesh or do you need drugs?" See, that's why when that guy greets you, and he said, the guy that's from Spain said, "De dónde son?" Okay, that's the usted. The Colombian said, "De dónde eres?" Okay, so which one of those you choose, that's up to you. I always say "De dónde eres." I like to use two because I can get to Argentinian Spanish. I can get to I can get to French, and I can get to Portuguese faster using tu, and double back to English. Tu. Usted is not correct, but it's more difficult to get to the other languages from that particular conjugation in Spanish. Okay, now, this points out exactly what I'm saying to you. See, this dude is like, hey, you want some drugs? Do you want some flesh? And they're going to be asking you that at all times. And when that occurs, you usually assume that that's a trap. That's always a trap. And now you got to have something to say to that. But if you had said to him, "Hey, de donde eres?" and he said, "Oh, de Colombia," and then you said, "Specificamente de cuál parte de Colombia," now you know what you're dealing with. If he says Medellín, 100%, and then everyone around him is like acknowledging that he's from Medellín and acknowledging him, okay, now you know what you're dealing with. See? You're looking for these little subtle clues in case he's going to come out that bag on you. Because I've seen it where these dudes, they will come out that bag on you. Now, you're looking at some YouTuber and he's been traveling around for 2 years, 3 years. And then you listen to me, and I've been at it since 84. So when you've been at it since 84, you know, you like see a lot of different things, because back in the day, you didn't have technology. Matter of fact, I might have been at it since 82. But back in 82, you didn't have technology that was going to help you. No translator, no nothing. All you had was your wits. I mean, you know, you had to shake, rattle, and roll. But back then, I was young, and, you know, and I didn't know about you get out there and you say too much, you know. But I'm going to tell one other story, and then I'm going to let this episode go. Back in 84, one of my partners from Africa, and I tell this story again on the other YouTubes, he wants to go to Washington, D.C. We get to Washington, D.C., and I tell him, I said, "Look, Abraham, let me tell you something. Your cousins live in kind of like a bad neighborhood." I said, "I know all of these people look like you and look like me, but we are not them and they are not us, and they're going to make that perfectly clear to us. So when I say run, you got to run." So we go a block, dudes, "Hey, hey," go a block, "Hey, hey." Now all of a sudden somebody aggressively says, "Hey, hey," and I'm in it. His hey, hey is real. When he said that hey, hey, I'm gone. Pew! I'm running. Boo, 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 boo. My boy Abraham, he done turned around and started negotiating. He turned right around and started negotiating. I'm like, damn, I'm not going back to get you. I'm not going back to get you, baby. I mean, I'm not going to be off in here negotiating. I don't know these people. They don't know me. You know, I'm not signing any peace treaties. I'm getting the hell out of here. One more story. Knew a dude, and he was getting ready. He was trying to go into public service of some sort. But he decided on the night of his enrollment that he was going to just go to downtown Detroit. And I told him, I said, "Hey man, you can go to downtown Detroit if you want to, but I'm not going down there with you." And I said, "Let me tell you something. If you go down there, that might be the last time that we ever see you again." He insisted. He said, "Well, you know, I'm not worried about all of that. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to do a few things." I said, "Man, I'm telling you right now, don't go down there. He went down there and we never saw him again. Yep, he went down there and we never saw him again. I don't know if he went back home or what he did or, what his business was, but I know the next morning and the next morning and the next morning and the next morning, he wasn't there anymore. Well, you can say, hey, did you see a news report saying that he got ganked out there? No, I didn't see a news report, and it didn't matter. Because the thing of it is that I was not disappeared. See, back in 84, 82, back in the day, it didn't matter which country you were in. It didn't matter which language you were speaking. It was all dangerous. It was all dangerous. All of it. And so these young guys, they don't see the inherent danger in anything that they're doing. They have no rules. I mean, this guy, he's got a camera on a stick and he's out there just filming away. And he doesn't have his back up against the wall. He's not in a position where he can possibly protect himself. Now, I film in a public park. Granted, it's in the United States, but the park is a drug den. I know it. And in the video, one guy, in the time that I was there, he passes out. Bam! Hits the ground. The police come running over to see if they got to give him Narcan and this and that and the other. But I'm seated on a bench. I know what's behind me. I know what's in front of me. Now, anything breaks off, I'm ready. I'm ready. Got my bike at the ready. I know where the ins and the outs are. I'm getting somewhere. I'm not gonna stay there and try to be a cowboy. And I know that they're gonna try to be slick. Where I was at, I know they were gonna try to be slick. So the minute I started talking directly to them in English, I was going to have a problem because they automatically were going to think, oh man, we got us one. We're sharper than him. We're bilingual. He's not. Didn't give him that opportunity. I made sure that I kept it in Spanish. I kept it Gucci because I wanted to let them know, hey, you know what? You got some backup. You got some soldiers. I got some backup. I got some soldiers too. See, that's how you got to do it. Don't show your whole card. This guy knew before he went. But if you don't know, don't go. That dude that's sitting right there, that's talking about, do you want some flesh? Do you want some drugs? Right by that cute little girl, he'll cut your whole heart out. We ain't having no conversation about what I want. I already know what I want. I know what I'm doing. I know how to roll. I don't need anybody to advise me. I don't need a tour guide. If I can't get myself there, I'm not going. See? That's how you operate. Because people come up to you all the time. Hey, let me help you. Now, where I'm at now, nobody comes up and says a damn thing to me about let me take you here, let me guide you there, do you want a taxi? They don't say any of that because they know after seeing me over the course of 24 years off and on, they know that I know more about this little place than they know. I know more about this little place than they know, so they're not going to be running around guiding me nowhere except for down a dark alley. Know before you go. And I got to say one more thing. These guys that are telling you that, hey, you come to the Philippines, you come to this place, go to this place, go to that place, go to this place. That's nonsense. You got to take some time to get accustomed to where you're at. Now, if that person has been in the Philippines 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years, been in Mexico 30 years, like one commenter said to me, he is acculturated. He knows where he's at and he knows what he's doing. But you getting ready to jump up every other day and run off to a new place? Get grounded in the place you're at. First, get yourself a spot wherever you're at. Get a spot. Then operate from that spot. Not a hotel. Get a spot. So the first thing that he should have been asked here is, hey, he should have been looking for rent signs. That's the first damn thing that he should have been looking for. Why? Because if you go residential, people who are residential don't want to raise hell in their place of residence. Even if they're criminals, they don't want to raise hell around their family and in their place of residence. So you go residential on their ass. You run off to that Hilton, they're going to be waiting outside for you. Know before you go.